Now what happens is, in the short run, we could differentiate between two things. I said one, capital was fixed, and two, I said that labor was variable. This is what happened, right? In the short run, I said that whenever you're going to write your production function, you're going to write production function is a function of labor and capital. Capital was fixed, but labor could be changed. And due to this only, I got the law of variable proportion, which was nothing but the shape of total product, which was initially increasing at an increasing rate, then increasing at a decreasing rate, and then decreasing. This was the shape of TP, and we said this is coming due to law of variable proportion. And law of variable proportion was due to law of diminishing marginal product. The shape of TP was due to the law of the diminishing marginal product. So basically what happened is that in the short run, I was fluctuating my labor and keeping the capital constant, because there were things which were fixed and there were things which were variable. In the short run, I have two type of cost. One is called the fixed cost and the other is called the variable cost. The fixed cost is the cost that you spend on the resources which are fixed, which cannot be changed in the short run. The variable cost is the cost which is spent on the resources which can change in the short run. So mostly I can say that the variable cost is the cost on labor. It will also include other things, electricity, buying raw material, or giving something to maybe something on spending something on the production thing, something, anything which can be changed in the short run. Now what I am going to assume here is that we are only spending on labor and spending on capital. So in the short run, the variable cost is the cost you spend on labor, and let's say that the wage of labor is W. So therefore my variable cost will be W into the amount of labor that I have, L. So this is the wage you pay to labor multiplied by the number of labors. So this is the total wage you pay to L labors. Okay. Now let's say that against this variable cost, we have also a fixed cost. Now for now, I understand that in the long run, my capital is fixed. Because my capital is fixed, I am saying that suppose the rent I pay on my capital is R, then I'm going to ask you, what is the cost you spend on capital? The cost you spend on a capital is going to be rent, which is the amount you pay on 1 unit of capital, into the number of units of capital you have. But because in the short run, capital is fixed and it cannot be fluctuated, I'm going to put a bar over it. This shows that, if K is 5, it cannot become 6, it cannot become 4 in the short run. It will remain at the value of 5 because it is short run. I cannot change the level of capital. If I now ask you what is going to be my total cost, you would say total cost will be WL plus R K bar in short run, because capital cannot be changed. Now let's go from short run to long run. Now what happens in long run? In long run, I can fluctuate labor, but I can also fluctuate capital. I can change both. Because in the long run, I can change both labor and capital. My production function looks like a function of labor and capital, and there is no bar on L or there is no bar on K. That is why in the long run, we had made something which is known as isoquant. I was changing labor and I was also changing capital. Now, in this case, if I am talking about the long run, then there is no fixed cost. Why? Because there is no fixed input. Everything is variable. Capital can also be varied, labor can also be varied, so there is no fixed input. And in this case, I'm going to ask you, what is the fixed cost? It is going to be 0. What is fixed cost is no there. What is the variable cost? Variable cost will be cost on labor plus cost on capital. Because both labor and capital can be varied, in the long run,